How can I more consistently feel my power?
By wanting it, finding it, and acknowledging that you found it. By noticing that it's there all the time, and that power isn't about big loud noises. Power's about clarity. Power is about strong, good feeling emotion. Use the word clarity and power interchangeably for a while.
Okay.
And you'll realize that often you have it. Often you have it. You're never without it. It's sort of like the electrical outlet is in the wall, and all the power that you need to power anything that you want to power is right there in the wall. But you got to plug it in. So you stand there with your vacuum cleaner or whatever, and you say, I don't know what's wrong. It's like the power isn't there. And the electrician says, no, the power is already there. The power is there. You got to hook into it. Oh, well, it's the same thing. It's always there. It's always there, and it's always precisely calibrated for the perfect outcome that you're wanting to achieve. But you've got to sync up with it.
Okay.
Yeah. And your emotions are your key to that.
Okay.
So you are powerful in your joy. You are powerless in your anger. You are powerful in your love. You are powerless in your despair. These are too strong of words for you because you're not often on that uncomfortable feeling end of the emotional scale. Yeah. But what happens is when you tap in to that clarity and you know it, nothing else will ever do. It's like you just can't stand it to not be there. So even though you're still more powerful than most anybody you know, and more powerful than you used to be all the time, it's still not enough if you're not up to speed with everything that you've ever been. And that's always going to call you. Your inner being is never going to stop calling you. Esther was sitting in one of the upper rooms looking out over this beautiful view. And she's been watching these hawks. There are two of them flying around the property. And she loves to see them because they seem powerful and sure. And they soar to such height. And when they come up close to her, as they often do, she can feel and hear the power in their wings as they go by. And so she's really enjoying these powerful birds. So the other morning, she's sitting up, and one landed in a tree very near her, close enough that with not much effort, she could have snatched it out of the tree. Mm-hmm. So she is looking at it, and it is not looking at her. And then it began making a noise, a bird sound. And Esther knew immediately that she was calling her babies to her. And Esther thought, oh, I remember this from before. Jerry and I have watched this happen before with smaller birds. Because the story goes, the mother will push them out of the nest. Not in this case. Instead, the mother went to the tallest tree on the property and called them, and called them, and called them, and called them, and called them. And Esther's saying, get up here, for heaven's sakes. And called them, 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 and then one came. Because mother knew that they could come. And she was not about to stop calling just because they didn't come immediately. And that's what it's like. You've put what you want in your vortex, and Source is calling you toward it, is calling and 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 calling. You know the joke? First we send a boat, then we send a jeep, then we send a plane, calling and calling and calling and calling and calling and calling, knowing that sometime or another you're going to accidentally be in the vicinity where you say, what's that? And when you get so, you know that the call is always there. And you're so fresh and in touch with your own impulses that you don't say, okay, I'll come, but where am I going and what's in it for me and who'll be there when I get there? Instead, you trust the call. You trust that the call wouldn't be there if the conditions weren't right, and follow those free-flowing impulses on this never-ending, always a new call to a new place eternally. How good is that?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enough?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Really good. Really good. Really good.
Hi, Abraham. I saw you several years ago and talked to you, and I had really bad arthritis in my feet. And I asked you about that, and you asked me, I believe, if I remember, was there something holding me back? Was there something I wasn't doing or something like that? And
Did something feel like it was hindering you?
yes,
Yeah,
and I had a real emotional breakthrough, and my whole life sort of came apart, and many things were wonderful, and many things were painful, and but ultimately it was a wonderful life. But everything changed over that, and I've been noticing that my feet got a lot better. Arthritis got a lot better. I'm noticing that I'm having arthritis in my hands now, sort of, and I'm almost.
Is there anything you're trying to get your hands on?
Okay, maybe.
We're not kidding.
No, I'm sure.
We're not kidding.
Yes, I was hoping it might be slightly different.
Anything that you're trying to hold on to that seems like it's getting away from you?
Hold on to this getting away.
Any
from-
range you're trying to hold back? Any condition you're trying to
Yes.
control that
My-
you can't find enough action or words to control it? That's that grip feeling, that I
Okay.
need to hold on to it feeling.
Okay. Yes, maybe.
Yeah,
in
for
certain
sure.
areas. Yes. My question, I guess, was: so it's never just arthritis, is it? Oh, it's some indicator.
That's the path of least resistance to give manifestation to the vibration that you're holding. Look at it this way. So you're going to like this. So here's this emotional scale, yes? And at one end of it is elation, love, appreciation, joy, all those good feelings, frisky, all that good feeling stuff. And then as more resistance is entering the scenario, then it feels less good, and you start calling it things like frustration or overwhelmment or anger or revenge or despair or whatever. So the emotional scale, no matter what the experiences are that you're having, the range is only what it is. In other words, negative emotion is negative emotion. Write that down. And positive emotion is positive emotion. In other words, don't spend too much time trying to make the positive go into infinity or the negative go to infinity. In other words, it's sort of what it is. But if you rest in a feeling of overwhelmment for a long period of time, or a feeling of frustration that goes to overwhelmment, and you begin feeling really stifled and stymied and not free, the next logical thing is for that emotion to take on a physical characteristic. Physical pain just is the extension of non-addressed negative emotion.
Okay.
It just is.
Okay.
And don't make it more than that, and don't make it an indictment on self. Just understand that all of you do it. You put up with negative emotion. Why would you? Why would you put up with negative emotion when you have the ability to self-soothe? Well, the reason you put up with negative emotion is because you incorrectly believe that the condition has to change before the emotion can change. Once you get that squared away, and you understand that the condition doesn't have to change in order for the emotion to feel good, so you're able to sustain the better feeling emotion, then the condition will follow the better feeling emotion. What is an emotion anyway? Do you picture little men inside of you with chainsaws and pickaxes? Is that what's creating the emotion in you? In other words, what is an emotion anyway? Isn't an emotion a physical response to vibration? And isn't everything about your body a physical response to vibration? And so look at your life. In other words, if you're feeling these positive emotions most of the time, look how wonderful things are happening. And when you're someone like you are, or like Esther is, who's used to hanging around up there, and then you go there and almost seemingly deliberately stay there for a little while, isn't guidance going to show you where you've been? And shouldn't it? And don't you want it to?
Yes.
Can arthritis really come on that fast?
Yeah.
No, but pain can get acute that fast, because when you stand around in negative emotion for a long period of time and pinch yourself off so substantially from a really powerful call, of course it's going to be painful. When you have the ability to self-soothe, why not be really picky? Why not choose for yourself joy and fun and laughter? Why not vacillate between incredibly interesting and incredibly funny and incredibly appreciation? In other words, isn't that a wide enough range for you to hang around in mostly? We think so. Yes. And once you understand what you are all understanding about how you view conditions and how you allow those conditions to just be whatever they are, but they aren't the reason that you need to feel the way you feel. You can feel apart from conditions, and that's what unconditional alignment is. That's what unconditional love is. You have the ability to feel. You have the ability to feel because you have the ability to focus. And you have real life experience showing you what the results of your thoughts are. So if the results of your thoughts are unpleasant, point them differently. But when you believe that the condition has to change before you can feel better, now you're in deep doo-doo. You can't get there from there. And then you become one, and there are many in the world who then want to control the conditions around them. They're just trying to control everything. And so when your body starts sort of getting stiff, usually it's because, and this is a strong blanket statement, but it's almost always the case, you're trying to do too much with your action and not enough with your alignment. And so we've been saying to our friends recently, do 20% less action. Every day, do 30% less action every day. Every day, do 40% less action. If you could do half as much action as you've been doing. So 50% of the action 40% of the action that you've been doing. If you just do 40% of the action that you've been doing, now admit it, you waste a lot of time anyway. A lot of your actions just running around in circles in frustration. So only do 40% of the action that you've been doing. And goose up your basking and your appreciating, your spa time, your beach time, your going to good movie time, your listening to good music time, your lovemaking time. Spend more time doing those things you really, 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 really like to do. Let it be more about the emotion. Care about your emotion 60% more, and care about your action only by about 40%, and watch how the fulcrum will tip. Watch how it tips. Watch how suddenly everyone becomes more cooperative with you, and your power becomes more discernible to you, and your physical vitality becomes more obvious to you, and your physical comfort becomes steadier to you. It's all about energy. It's all about energy. It's all about energy. It's all about energy, which leads to some manifestations. But don't make the main event the manifestation. It's just the leading edge. So many humans have made a lifestyle out of step one, poking around in the problem. We want you to make a lifestyle out of step 3. And when you do, now you're in step 4. And when you do it longer, now you're in step 5. And now nothing bothers you. It all just surprises and delights you. But you don't stop growing because contrast continues to come to you. But now you've got contrast in the right perspective. Now you see it as variety, not contrast. Now you see it as choices, not struggle. Now you see it as infinite intelligence giving you infinite choices, and you're so good at selecting that you experience what others would perceive as primarily a pleasurable life experience. Helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Really good.